Greetings, my fellow financial ninjas. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the issues of being a landlord and how you can and what you can do to overcome some of those issues. Um, I'm going to read out this article that I recently read on ABC 7 that talked about this couple in California that had a rental property in Fremont, in Ardenwood area, which is a very nice area of the Bay Area, and they owned the property and they had it for a few years. They moved out and decided to convert it into a rental. So let me see what it says. So here's what it says. A Fremont couple's rental property has been seriously damaged by a black market marijuana grow. The tenant on the run while the police investigate. Um, Blah blah blah. The couple contacted us because they are frustrated at what happened to their house. Even though cannabis is now legal in the state of California, it looks like they are victims of an underground market that's alive and well. Anjali and Anil tell me they cared for their Fremont home like a baby and kept it in pristine condition. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bath in nice neighborhood. Because my kids were born here, I have an emotional attachment to this house, said Anjali. It was also their nest egg for retirement, especially important after Anil's recent heart surgery. When the couple moved to a new home, they decided to rent the Fremont house, blah, blah, blah. And then what I'll do is I'll put the link to that article. And I did some research of my own because it is in Bay Area. So what I found was there were a few things that kind of stood out, and I'm going to share with those, and that way you can avoid some of these situations that can get extremely expensive. Because in this couple's case, the damage runs in pretty much. 100,000 or probably more, because they might have to get down the walls and get down all the way to the bare bones and rebuild the house pretty much from scratch. So that could get expensive. And then I think I also read that they're trying to negotiate some kind of deal with the insurance company in order to get compensated for all the stuff that happened. So coming back to the to the issue, and so there was a couple of things that stood out to me. One of them was that the potential tenant came with a kid, and the landlord said that when they saw the kid, they were very excited about that person, and apparently he was using a fake ID. What was not clear was whether they ran the credit check or not from him. Maybe they might have checked the ID, but I don't know if they used a professional background search agency to actually find out the information about that particular person. And I think they may have skipped on that, because even if you have all the information, you give it to them. The background check, and especially the criminal background check, becomes very, very important in order to avoid such kind of situation. Once they had that, they had done. The other thing that I think that they missed out on was they had no clue what was going on on their property. And that is also one of the biggest big issues with being a landlord. It is your property. You should take care of it and do regular inspections. I recommend doing a inspection every 6 months. So that I assume that was lacking, because they never really looked into how the house was. They did say that they checked the house about a year into the tenancy, and apparently the house was in okay condition, but they never bothered checking after that. So that was the other red flag that I found, because you have to make sure that you inspect the property at least once a year, if not every 6 months. I really feel bad for this couple. What happened? It is an extreme situation and really, really unfortunate, and that kind of underscores why it is so critical that you should do a thorough check on your tenants and make sure that you keep monitoring over the period of time. Now, the other thing is that does some kind of an incident like this should deter you from being a landlord? And the short answer to that is no. This kind of an incident, an extreme of this type of incident, only happen once in a while, and it's pretty rare. And so it's kind of like car accidents cause the most number of death. Does that mean that you should not drive? It's kind of similar. Most of the issues with the landlord and the tenants are minor compared to what happened with this couple, and it should be considered as a part of doing the business. The other thing also is that you should not be emotionally attached to that house, because once you convert your house into a rental, that becomes a business. And so you should be treating it as one. So do not expect that people will take care of the house the way that you did. And that is one of the mistakes that I've seen from people that actually convert their house that they used to live in and they convert it into a rental. They think that the people that are going to live there, they assume that they are also going to take care of the house in a similar manner. But a rental is a rental, and so that's not going to happen. And I'm not saying that all the tenants are like that, but in general, you'll find that the owners obviously take much more care of the property than a tenant would. So that's just the nature of things. So you have to make sure that when you pick the tenant, you do all your research. So that means not only checking everything with the agencies that I previously talked about, but also calling up their landlords, previous landlords, calling up their workplace, asking for additional form of identification. In this case, they only check the driver's license, which is pretty easy to replicate these days. So what you can do is ask them for a copy of their utility bill that they were paying with their current rental, or they can ask for a bank statement. If it's a small business, then you can ask for a tax paper. And so having that additional check always helps. And lastly, I would like to say that this kind of an incident could happen. I mean, there's a chance that despite doing all the research and everything, taking care of everything, the background check and making sure you monitor the property, but at least you would come to know about the issue before it becomes really bad. That also makes a difference. But if something happens, make sure that you always have good insurance on your property, because you never know what's going to happen. And so if you have good insurance, you will be covered in case of anything unfortunate happens with it, because there is no guarantee in life. And so you have to cover yourself or protect yourself by getting good insurance. So those are some of my thoughts about some of the perils of being a landlord and what you can do to avoid something like this. Do give this video a like, a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.